Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You are holding a small spoonful of soil, just 1 teaspoon. It looks quiet, still, brown dust and little grains of rock. But in that 1 teaspoon, there are more living organisms than the entire human population of Earth. More than 8 billion tiny beings moving, eating, dividing, growing. This is the world of microbes, a hidden universe, a living realm so small we rarely see it, but so vast it touches every corner of life. Microbes are the tiny workers of nature. Most are made of just a single cell, so small that 1,000 of them can fit on the tip of a needle. They are found everywhere, in the air you breathe, in the oceans, on your skin, and even inside your body. They have shaped the earth for billions of years. Long before plants or animals appeared, these microscopic life forms were already building ecosystems, cycling nutrients, and even changing the atmosphere. Some microbes are bacteria, others are viruses, which are not quite alive in the way we usually think about life. Then there are fungi and protozoa, each with their own secret roles in the great puzzle of life. Many of them live in quiet harmony with us. Some even protect us. A few can make us sick, but together they form a hidden network that keeps life in balance. Let's begin this journey in the soil, the rich, dark foundation of forests, fields, and farms. Beneath the ground, in the dark spaces between particles of sand and clay, lives a whole underground city. Bacteria work to break down dead leaves and animal remains. Fungi send out long thread-like roots that stretch like spiderwebs, connecting trees and sharing nutrients. Tiny creatures, called nematodes, little worm-like beings, patrol the soil, feeding on bacteria and fungi. This underground life is not just busy, it's vital. Without it, plants would not grow, trees would not thrive, crops would not feed us. Microbes make nutrients available. They hold soil together. They protect roots from disease. In every handful of dirt, a story unfolds, a story of life, death, and renewal. Now, shift your attention to the air around you. With every breath, you take in invisible guests. Some are just passing through. Some live with you always. Even high above the clouds, scientists have found microbes drifting in the sky, carried by winds, surviving in freezing temperatures, sometimes traveling from one continent to another, and inside water, especially in oceans, rivers, and lakes. Microbes flourish. The surface of the sea, warmed by sunlight, is home to countless floating life forms. Some of these are tiny plants called phytoplankton. They may be small, but together they make over half the oxygen we breathe. That means every second breath you take comes from these little marine beings. In the deeper waters, bacteria help recycle waste and keep marine ecosystems alive. Without them, the oceans would collapse. But perhaps the most personal part of this story lives within you. Inside your body, there are more microbial cells than human cells. Yes, in terms of numbers, you are more microbe than human. These tiny organisms live in your mouth, on your skin, and most of all, in your guts. This inner world is known as the microbiome, a living community of helpful guests who help you digest food, produce vitamins, train your immune system, and protect you from harmful invaders. The gut microbiome especially is like a rainforest. Inside your belly, rich, diverse, ever-changing. It may even affect how you feel, your mood, your brain, your cravings. Scientists have found surprising links between gut microbes and mental health. Some bacteria seem to send messages to your brain. This is sometimes called the gut-brain connection, a gentle reminder that even your thoughts may be shaped in part by microscopic life. Microbes also play a role in medicine. Some produce natural antibiotics, powerful chemicals that fight off other bacteria. Others are used in vaccines, helping train the body's defenses. In hospitals and labs, microbes are both challenge and tool. They can cause infection, but they can also help cure disease. In fact, without microbes, we wouldn't have penicillin, insulin, or even yogurt. And in the world of science, these organisms offer clues to the earliest forms of life. Some bacteria can survive extreme heat, freezing cold, deep ocean pressure, or acid baths. They may help us understand how life began, or how life might exist on other planets. Now, take a step back. Think about this. We live surrounded by a world we cannot see, a world within and around us. It is silent, constant, and ancient. The microbes were here long before us. They will likely remain long after us. But in this present moment, they are with us, working in soil to grow our food, floating in oceans to give us air, living in our guts to keep us balanced. They are not just tiny organisms. They are threads in the web of life. So the next time you wash your hands, eat a meal, or take a breath, pause and remember, you are part of a much larger story. A story that includes beings so small they slip through cracks in light, yet they shape everything. This is the hidden world around you, a world that invites quiet wonder. And now, with your eyes closed and your mind at ease, we continue deeper into the next chapter of this living, breathing, microscopic realm. What exactly is a microbe? The word microbe comes from micro, meaning small, and bios, meaning life. In simple terms, microbes are tiny living things, so small that most cannot be seen without a microscope. But small does not mean simple. In fact, many microbes carry out complex tasks that even large animals cannot do. They are the original life forms, ancient, diverse, powerful. To better understand them, let's gently walk through the main groups. These are the main kinds of microbes that scientists study and talk about. Each one behaves differently. Some help us, others harm, and some we are only just beginning to understand. Let's begin with the most famous bacteria. Bacteria are single-celled organisms. Each one is like a tiny, independent factory. It can move, eat, reproduce, and adapt to its environment. Bacteria are everywhere, in water, soil, air, and inside your body. Some bacteria are helpful. They live in your gut and help digest food. They break down waste in nature. They even help plants grow by making nutrients available in the soil. Some bacteria can cause illness. These are called pathogens. They can enter the body and release toxins, tiny chemicals that harm cells. But not all bacteria are bad. In fact, out of thousands of known species, only a small number cause disease. Most are harmless. Many are essential to life. Now, let's turn to viruses. Viruses are different from all other microbes. They are much smaller than bacteria. So small, they often float in the air. or slip between cracks in surfaces. Unlike bacteria, viruses are not truly alive on their own. They cannot eat or grow by themselves. They must enter another living cell to survive. Once inside, a virus takes over. It uses the host cell's machinery to make copies of itself, like a silent invader. The cell becomes a virus factory until it bursts, releasing more viruses into the body. Some viruses cause colds. Others lead to more serious diseases like flu, measles, or even COVID. But viruses are not always enemies. Some are being studied as tools for treating cancer. Some may even help control harmful bacteria in nature. Next, we meet fungi. These microbes are more complex than bacteria and viruses. Some fungi are single-celled, like yeast. Others are made of long threads and form molds or mushrooms. Fungi have a special role in breaking down dead plants and animals. They recycle nutrients and return them to the soil. Without fungi, forests would fill with fallen leaves that never rot. The earth would be buried in its own remains. In medicine, fungi have given us powerful drugs. The first antibiotic, penicillin, comes from a fungus. So do drugs used to suppress the immune system during organ transplants. And yet, like bacteria and viruses, some fungi can also cause harm, especially in people with weak immune systems. These infections are often slow and difficult to treat. And then we come to protozoa. Protozoa are single-celled organisms too, but they are more like tiny animals. They can move around using tails or small hair-like parts. They hunt, feed, and sometimes change shape. Protozoa often live in water, ponds, lakes, and even inside other animals. Some help clean the environment by eating bacteria, but others are dangerous. For example, one type of protozoa causes malaria, a disease that affects millions each year. Another causes a serious infection in the brain, often picked up from warm lakes. These are the four main types of microbes: bacteria, viruses, fungi, and protozoa. Each has its own structure, its own way of life, its own strengths and weaknesses. But there is something more. All of these microbes raise a deep and curious question. What does it mean to be alive? Bacteria can grow, move, and make copies of themselves. They breathe in simple ways and respond to their surroundings. Protozoa swim and hunt. Viruses, however, challenge the definition of life. Outside the body, they do nothing. No breathing, no eating, no motion. But inside a host, they come alive, reproducing rapidly, sometimes changing the course of life itself. So, are viruses alive? Scientists are still debating this. Some say yes, because they contain genetic material, the same kind of blueprint found in all living things. Others say no, because they cannot live independently. Perhaps life is not a single idea, but a spectrum, from fully active creatures like protozoa to half-living forms like viruses. This mystery is part of what makes microbes so fascinating. Now, let's zoom in again, not just to size, but to impact. Although microbes are tiny, their effects are huge. Bacteria help cows digest grass. They help cheese to ripen. They clean up oil spills by eating oil particles in your own body. Bacteria help produce certain vitamins, like vitamin K, which helps blood to clot. Fungi help trees absorb nutrients through their roots. Without fungi, forests would struggle to survive. Protozoa are part of the food chain. Tiny fish eat them. Bigger fish eat the smaller fish, and on it goes. Even viruses, as dangerous as they seem, may play a role in nature's balance. Some keep bacteria populations under control. Others may have helped shape human evolution, but not all interactions are peaceful. Sometimes, when microbes enter a body and multiply too fast, they cause illness. This is called infection. Body responds by sending white blood cells, your natural defenders, to fight the invaders. Sometimes this battle causes fever, swelling, or pain. Other times it goes unnoticed, resolved quietly. Still, we must remember, most microbes are not enemies. They are part of the web of life. They are builders, recyclers, helpers, and, yes, sometimes destroyers. But life without them would not be possible. Let's go back to the image of a single drop of water. Imagine placing a drop of pond water under a microscope. Suddenly, the world opens. You see tiny spheres spinning, rod-shaped forms, gliding thread-like structures, stretching out, each one with a purpose, each one performing a dance that has continued for billions of years. These are microbes. They may be invisible to the naked eye, but they are everywhere, in your food, in your breath, on your skin, and deep inside your gut. They are ancient, adaptable, always moving. And now that we've met them, we can begin to ask deeper questions. How do these organisms survive? How do they grow? And how does the body protect itself when they go from harmless guests to dangerous invaders? To answer that, we will next step into the body's internal battleground, the immune system, a silent army that watches, remembers, and responds. Imagine a city not made of stone or steel, but made of molecules. A city so small it fits inside a droplet of water. Within this tiny city, every structure has a purpose. Every movement is part of a larger rhythm. This is the world inside a microbial cell. Even the smallest microbe is not simple. It carries the quiet elegance of life, a kind of order built into its very shape. To understand microbes more deeply, we must now look within into the secret language of their cells. At the center of every living thing is the cell, a small, enclosed space, a chamber of activity. It is the basic unit of life. And in microbes, it all begins here. Let us start with the cell membrane. This is the cell's outer layer, a soft skin that separates the inside from the outside. It is not made of fabric or metal. It is made of a delicate film built from molecules called lipids. This thin boundary is not just a wall. It is alive with decisions. It allows some things to enter, like water and nutrients, while keeping others out. It also removes waste. In this way, the membrane protects the cell. It listens to the world around it. It responds to changes. It communicates. You can think of the membrane like the gate of a fortress, not locked, but watchful, always sensing, always choosing. Now move inside the cell. Floating in the middle is a soft jelly called cytoplasm. This jelly is not random. It holds the cell's parts in place. It allows molecules to move and meet. It is a gentle sea where life's chemistry takes place. Here, within this sea, we find something extraordinary: DNA. DNA is the instruction manual of life. It holds the blueprint for everything the cell needs to do. Even in the simplest bacteria, DNA is folded with care. It holds information to build proteins. It controls when to divide, how to survive, and even how to respond to threats. In most microbes, the DNA floats freely in the center. In more complex microbes, like some fungi and protozoa, the DNA is wrapped inside a structure called the nucleus, a kind of safe room for genetic information. But what does DNA actually do? DNA tells the cell how to make proteins, and proteins are the builders. They form the structure of the cell. They do the work. They carry messages. They move substances. Without proteins, life would not exist. To turn DNA into proteins, the cell uses small machines called ribosomes. A ribosome is not made of metal. It is made of protein and a type of genetic helper called RNA. The ribosome reads the message from DNA, one small step at a time, and builds the correct protein by connecting tiny building blocks called amino acids. You can think of a ribosome like a craftsman at a bench, patiently reading a recipe and placing each part in order. Slowly, quietly, perfectly, these ribosomes float freely in the cytoplasm. In some complex microbes, they are also attached to folded membranes called the endoplasmic reticulum, a soft, folded ribbon that helps sort and transport proteins. Other parts help the cell stay alive and well. There are small storage bubbles called vesicles. These carry substances to different parts of the cell, like little delivery trucks. There are energy centers called mitochondria, sometimes called the powerhouses of the cell. These tiny structures take in sugar and turn it into usable energy, a kind of chemical fuel called ATP. Some microbes, like plants and algae, even have special parts called chloroplasts. These allow them to use sunlight to make food, a process called photosynthesis. But not all microbes are alike. Bacteria, for example, are usually simple. They do not have a true nucleus. Their DNA floats freely. They do not have mitochondria or chloroplasts, yet they are still remarkably efficient. Some bacteria also have flagella, long tails that help them swim. Others have small hairs called pili that help them stick to surfaces or share genes with other bacteria. Yes, some bacteria can actually share their DNA with neighbors, a quiet exchange that helps them adapt and survive. Fungi and protozoa are more complex. Their cells are larger and contain many compartments. They may live alone or form colonies. Some fungi grow thread-like filaments. Some protozoa move using tiny hairs or soft extensions. Even among viruses, which are not true cells, we find structure. A virus has a shell made of protein. Inside is genetic material, either DNA or a similar strand called RNA. The virus carries this message into a host cell and forces the cell to make more viruses. It is like slipping a new instruction into the cell's machinery. The virus does not build anything itself. Instead, it hijacks the cell's tools, a quiet takeover. All of these tiny parts, membranes, DNA, ribosomes, and more, make up the language of the cell. Not a spoken language, but a molecular one, a system of signals, shapes, and movements that together create life. Every microbe speaks this language in its own way. It responds to heat, light, food, and danger. It grows when food is near. It divides when space allows. It pauses when times are hard. Some microbes can even form protective shells to survive drought or cold, like falling asleep until the world becomes friendly again. What makes this so astonishing is not just the complexity, but the scale. All of this is happening in a space smaller than a speck of dust. The cell works with no noise, no wires, no guidance from outside, and yet it continues. It remembers. It adapts. Inside a single microbe, there are thousands of reactions every second, chemical messages, folding proteins, broken down sugars, repaired strands of DNA, all of it happening in silence. It is a form of elegance, a kind of poetry written in molecules. This is the secret language of the cell, a language older than animals, older than plants, older than bones or blood. It connects all life, from the simplest bacteria in the soil to the neurons in your brain. When we speak of microbes, we are not speaking of simple specks of life. We are speaking of entire worlds carried within invisible forms. And just as microbes talk to their own parts, they also communicate with each other. Some release chemical signals into the environment to warn others of danger, to gather into groups, or to slow down when resources are low. This is sometimes called quorum sensing, a kind of social intelligence among microbes. Yes, even bacteria can work together. In the next part of our journey, we will explore what happens when the balance breaks, when microbes enter the body and begin to multiply. When the immune system steps forward, the body does not wait silently. It listens, it learns, it remembers, and it defends. Let us now move to the battleground between self and invader. Imagine a single drop of water resting on a leaf. Inside that drop, hidden from your eyes, is a tiny bacterium. Alone, it seems harmless, quiet. But give it warmth, moisture, and time, and in just a few hours, that one cell could become millions. This is the secret power of microbes. They multiply quickly, quietly, often before we even notice they are there. Let us now step into the world of microbial growth, how bacteria divide, and how viruses take over cells to make more copies of themselves. Bacteria, the art of simple division. Bacteria grow by a process called binary fission. The name might sound complex, but the idea is simple. A bacterial cell makes a copy of its DNA, the genetic blueprint. Then it stretches and begins to split. The result is two cells, each identical to the original. From one comes two, from two comes four, then 8, 16, 32. This doubling can happen every 20 minutes in the right conditions. That means one bacterium could become over 1,000,000 in less than a day. But bacteria are not careless. They do not grow without reason. They respond to the environment. If food is limited or the temperature is wrong, they slow down. Some bacteria even enter a kind of resting state, waiting patiently until conditions improve. Inside a human body, where nutrients and warmth are available, certain bacteria can grow rapidly. That is why infections can begin quietly and then suddenly worsen. But bacterial growth is not just about speed, it is also about survival. Some bacteria form biofilms, slimy layers, where many cells stick together. These films protect them from threats, like antibiotics or the immune system. You may have seen a biofilm on your teeth in the morning, the thin layer we brush away. Other bacteria can form spores, tough shells that protect them from heat, dryness, and even chemical damage. In this form, they can stay inactive for years, waiting for a better moment to come alive again. This ability to pause, wait, and return is one of the reasons bacteria are so successful. They are masters of quiet persistence. Viruses, the silent invaders, unlike bacteria, viruses cannot multiply on their own. They have no engines, no fuel, no way to build themselves, so they use another path. They hijack. A virus is a small packet. Inside is a set of instructions. Either DNA or RNA wrapped around it is a protein shell, and sometimes an extra oily layer called an envelope. This shell protects the virus until it reaches a host, usually a living cell. Once inside, the virus releases its genetic material. It tricks the host cell into reading these viral instructions. The cell, not realizing the trick, begins to build more copies of the virus. Proteins are made, shells are formed, new viruses assemble, and finally, the new viruses break out. Some slip out quietly, others burst the cell open. That single infected cell is now gone, and dozens or hundreds of new viruses are ready to infect more cells. This process can repeat rapidly. One virus becomes thousands. In some infections, this happens in just a few days. In others, like HIV, the virus hides and multiplies slowly over years. Viruses are not alive in the usual sense. They do not grow, they do not eat, but they can multiply with terrifying efficiency. They are like keys searching for locks, silent, patient, and ready. Fungi and protozoa, complex growth patterns. Fungi, such as yeast and molds, grow more slowly than bacteria, but in more complex ways. Yeast, which is single-celled, also uses a method similar to binary fission. It can bud off small daughter cells, like bubbles popping off the surface of water. Molds and mushrooms, on the other hand, grow as long threads called hyphae. These threads spread outward, absorbing nutrients from their surroundings. Over time, these threads can cover large areas, forming visible colonies. Fungi also reproduce, using spores, tiny reproductive cells that float in the air. These spores can land on surfaces and grow when the conditions are right. That is why mold spreads across old bread or damp walls. Protozoa, which are tiny single-celled animals, often reproduce by splitting in two, much like bacteria, but some have more advanced cycles. They may change shape, form protective cysts, or even have a stage where they swim freely before becoming still. Some protozoa also have a sexual stage, where two individuals exchange genetic material. This allows for variation and adaptation, helping them survive in changing environments. Microbial growth in the body inside the human body. Microbes face a complex world. There are defenses, like immune cells, stomach acid, and beneficial bacteria that compete for space. But if a harmful microbe finds a weakness, it can begin to multiply. A single bacterium entering a wound can divide into thousands overnight. A virus entering your nose may multiply quietly before symptoms even begin. In the lungs, gut, or bloodstream, this growth can lead to infection, but not all growth is dangerous. Inside your digestive system, friendly bacteria grow and help digest food. On your skin, beneficial microbes form a layer that protects you from harmful invaders. In fact, If you take antibiotics, which kill bacteria, your friendly bacteria may be reduced. This can sometimes allow harmful bacteria or fungi to grow in their place, a reminder of how delicate the balance is. How do scientists measure microbial growth? In the lab, scientists often grow microbes in controlled environments. They use petri dishes filled with jelly-like food called agar. Bacteria placed on the surface grow into visible dots called colonies. Each colony usually starts from a single bacterium. Scientists also grow microbes in liquid, where they can measure growth by how cloudy the liquid becomes. With special tools, scientists can count cells, measure their size, and even study how quickly they divide under different conditions. This helps us understand how infections begin and how they might be stopped. The hidden cost of growth, microbial growth, is not without cost. As bacteria or fungi grow, they release waste. They compete for space. Some produce toxins. Others use up oxygen or sugar. This can damage the tissues they invade. In the environment, uncontrolled microbial growth can spoil food, rot wood, or cloud water. But controlled growth is also useful. We use microbes to make cheese, yogurt, bread, wine, and medicine. In factories, bacteria help clean wastewater or produce vitamins. It is not growth itself that is dangerous. It is where and when it happens, from one to millions. So now, picture that single bacterium again. At first, it floats alone, barely noticed, but within a few hours, under the right conditions, it has become a colony, a gathering, a force. This is the rhythm of microbial life, not fast in a human sense, not loud, but steady, persistent, adaptive. The ability to grow, divide, and multiply lies at the heart of every microbe, and with every copy they make, they carry the story of life forward, cell by cell. Now, let us step into the next part of our journey, where we meet the body's silent defenders, the immune system, a world where white blood cells patrol, signals are exchanged, and balance is carefully maintained. Take a slow breath as air fills your lungs. Know this, you are not alone. All across your skin, deep in your gut, even inside your mouth and lungs, there are trillions of tiny beings living with you. They are invisible, yet vital. They form your microbiome, a living community of friendly microbes that share your body and shape your health. This is not an invasion. It is a quiet partnership, one that has been forming since the day you were born. Let us now explore this hidden world, the microbiome within you, and how these tiny companions help you survive, grow, and heal. What is the microbiome? The word microbiome refers to all the microbes that live on and inside your body. These include bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other tiny organisms. In total, your body carries around 39 trillion microbial cells. That's more than the number of human cells in your body. Most of these microbes are harmless. Many are helpful. Together, they form a kind of internal ecosystem, a balance of species, each with a role to play. Just like a rainforest or coral reef, the microbiome thrives on diversity. A wide variety of microbes makes the system stronger and more stable. Where do these microbes live? The gut is the heart of the microbiome, especially the large intestine, where most microbial life is found. Here, billions of bacteria live and work quietly, but they are not limited to your gut. Your skin is home 2 different microbes, depending on whether it is oily, dry, or moist. Your mouth, nose, lungs, and even your eyes all carry their own sets of microscopic life. Each area offers a different climate. Some microbes prefer warm, dark spaces. Others survive better on dry surfaces, like species in different habitats. They adapt to where they live. Even your belly button has its own unique mix. Where do they come from? You are not born with a full microbiome. When you are in the womb, your body is mostly sterile, free from microbes. But the moment you are born, the process begins. As you pass through the birth canal, you collect bacteria from your mother. Skin contact adds more. Breastfeeding introduces additional microbes. By age 3, your microbiome is largely established. It continues to shift as you grow, eat, travel, and age. What you eat, where you live, whether you take antibiotics, even who you live with, all of it shapes the microbiome. What do these microbes do? The gut microbiome is most famous for its work in digestion. When food reaches the large intestine, human enzymes have done most of the work, but some fibers and starches remain. These are broken down by microbes. They produce gases and short-chain fatty acids, special molecules that feed your gut cells and reduce inflammation. But digestion is only the beginning. Microbes help train the immune system. They teach it how to recognize harmful invaders and how to stay calm around friendly microbes or harmless substances. A well-balanced microbiome keeps the immune system sharp but not overreactive. Some bacteria also make vitamins. For example, certain gut microbes produce vitamin K, which helps blood clot, and some B vitamins, which support the brain and nerves. The microbiome even affects your mood. Studies show that gut bacteria can send signals to the brain through chemical messengers. This connection is called the gut-brain axis, a silent conversation between the belly and the mind. When the gut microbiome is healthy, many systems in the body work better. What happens when the microbiome is disturbed? The balance of the microbiome can be easily disturbed. Antibiotics, while important for fighting infection, also kill friendly bacteria. This can reduce diversity and open the door for harmful microbes to take over. Changes in diet, illness, stress, or long-term medication can shift the balance. A disturbed microbiome is linked to several conditions, including irritable bowel syndrome, obesity, type 2 diabetes, and even some forms of depression. In the skin imbalance can contribute to acne or eczema. In the lungs, a poor microbial balance may affect asthma or allergies. Researchers are still learning, but one thing is clear. When the microbiome suffers, the body often suffers too. Can we heal or shape the microbiome? Yes, the microbiome can adapt and even recover. A fiber-rich diet with fruits, vegetables, and whole grains feeds the good bacteria. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut contain live microbes that may support the gut. These are sometimes called probiotics, living bacteria that may offer health benefits. Prebiotics are different. They are not bacteria themselves, but the fibers that feed bacteria. Think of them as fertilizer for the garden within you. In some cases, doctors may use a treatment called fecal transplant, where microbes from a healthy person's gut are transferred into someone with a damaged microbiome. This has shown success for certain infections, like Clostridioides difficile, which causes severe diarrhea. The idea may sound strange, but the science is solid and growing. The microbiome and the immune system, your microbiome and immune system live side by side. They are in constant communication. Microbes stimulate the growth of special immune cells. They also help control inflammation, the swelling and heat that comes with immune activity. Some microbes can block harmful bacteria by producing natural antibiotics. Others coat the gut lining, preventing dangerous substances from passing through. This protective layer is called the mucosal barrier, a soft shield made of mucus, friendly bacteria, and immune cells. It is your frontline defense, a quiet border between the body and the outside world. Unique microbiomes for each person. No two microbiomes are exactly alike. Even identical twins with the same genes can have different gut bacteria. Your microbiome is shaped by life experience. It is a reflection of where you've been, what you've eaten, and how your body has responded. This makes it a kind of fingerprint, uniquely yours. And yet, there are patterns. Healthy microbiomes tend to share some common species. Harmful shifts tend to follow certain trends. Scientists are working to map these changes in hopes of using them to detect disease earlier or even prevent it. You are not just you. We often think of the human body as a single organism, but in truth, we are a blend, a walking partnership. Your body is home to a rich community, one that digests your food, shapes your immunity, and even talks to your brain. This idea can feel strange at first, but it also brings wonder. You are not alone, and that is not a weakness. It is a strength. When the microbiome is healthy, your body is better protected. Your digestion improves. Your energy feels steadier. Your immune system is wiser. This quiet alliance has taken millions of years to evolve. It deserves care and attention. And as science continues to explore this hidden world, we may find new ways to heal from the inside out. Let us now move forward from the inner peace of the microbiome to the battlefields of infection, where medicine meets microbe. In the next section, we explore how doctors fight harmful microbes and how these tiny enemies sometimes fight back. Imagine waking up with a sore throat, a tickle behind your eyes. Your body feels heavier than usual. You're slower, quieter. Something inside you has changed. What you cannot see is the cause. Somewhere deep in your tissues, tiny invaders have arrived. A few hours ago, they were just beginning. Now, they are multiplying quietly, rapidly. They are microbes too small to see, but strong enough to bring your entire body to a pause. These are the germs that make us sick. Not all microbes are harmful. As we've seen, many are helpful, companions. But when the wrong microbe enters the wrong place at the wrong time, it can lead to infection. The symptoms we feel, fever, pain, fatigue, are often signs of the body's defense, not just the microbe's presence. This is a silent battle, one that unfolds every day inside and around us. Let us begin with bacteria. When harmful bacteria enter the body, they can grow quickly. Some release toxins, tiny weapons that damage tissues. Others use sharp hooks or sticky proteins to cling to cells and avoid being washed away. In the lungs, they may cause coughing and trouble breathing. In the gut, they might lead to cramps and diarrhea. In the blood, the effects can become dangerous within hours. Take the example of Streptococcus pyogenes bacterium that can cause strep throat. It spreads through droplets in the air. When it reaches the throat, it begins to divide. It irritates the lining, triggers inflammation, and makes swallowing painful. Most people recover with rest and medicine, but in some cases, it can lead to deeper infections. Another example is Escherichia coli, often shortened to E. coli. Some strains live peacefully in the gut, but others, especially when picked up from contaminated food, can release toxins that damage the lining of the intestine. This can cause bloody diarrhea, fever, and in rare cases, kidney failure. Bacteria are not just invaders, they are builders of strategy. They talk to each other using chemical signals. They wait until their numbers are high before releasing toxins, a strategy known as quorum sensing. It is as if they know they are stronger together. Now let us turn to viruses. Viruses are different. They do not live or grow on their own. Instead, they enter a living cell, take control, and use the cell's own machinery to make copies of themselves. The common cold is caused by viruses such as rhinovirus. These viruses enter the nose or throat and begin to multiply. They do not kill cells immediately. Instead, they irritate the tissues, triggering sneezing, coughing, and a runny nose. The body's response is part of the discomfort. More serious viruses, like influenza or the flu virus, cause deeper problems. They infect cells in the lungs, leading to fever, chills, and muscle pain. The immune system responds with force, and sometimes this response itself can cause exhaustion and swelling. Some viruses are quiet for years. The virus that causes chickenpox, for instance, can hide in nerve cells. Decades later, it can reactivate as shingles, painful blisters along the skin. Others, like HIV, slowly weaken the immune system over time, allowing other infections to take hold. Fungi, too, can cause illness. Most fungal infections are mild, such as athlete's foot or yeast infections. These happen when the natural balance of microbes on the skin or in the body is disrupted. But in people with weakened immune systems, fungi like Candida or Aspergillus can enter the bloodstream and cause serious disease. Protozoa are another class of microbes that make us sick. These are tiny, single-celled organisms, often spread by water or insects. One of the most well-known is Plasmodium, the parasite that causes malaria. It is spread by the bite of a mosquito. Once inside the body, it travels to the liver, then the blood, multiplying inside red blood cells and bursting them open. This leads to cycles of fever, chills, and fatigue. Some protozoa infect the intestines, like Giardia. It causes cramps, bloating, and watery stool, often after drinking untreated water. Even tiny worms, though not microbes in the strict sense, are sometimes grouped with them. These parasites can live in the intestines, the blood, or even under the skin. But infection is not just about entry. It is about the body's response. The moment a harmful germ enters, the immune system activates. First come the early defender cells, like macrophages, that patrol the tissues. They try to eat the invaders, break them apart, and send warning signals. These signals call in more immune cells. Some produce heat and swelling to block the microbe's path. Others release chemicals that slow the microbe down. If needed, the immune system can raise the body's temperature, creating a fever. This makes the environment less friendly for germs. and more active for immune fighters. White blood cells, like neutrophils and lymphocytes, rush to the site. Some attack directly, others remember the shape of the invader. If the same germ returns later, the immune system can react faster. This is how immunity is formed. But sometimes the immune response can go too far. Infections, like sepsis, happen when the body's defenses become overwhelming. The inflammation spreads too widely. Blood pressure drops. Organs can begin to fail. In these cases, doctors must support the body with fluids, oxygen, and medicine, buying time for the immune system to recover. Not all infections are dangerous. Many are mild and heal on their own. But in the right conditions, even a small cut can become serious. Germs are always watching for chances. A lowered immune system, a wound, a disruption in the microbiome. And yet, the body is not helpless. It has layers of defense. The skin is a barrier. Mucus traps microbes in the nose and lungs. Acid in the stomach kills many germs before they reach the intestines. Friendly bacteria compete with harmful ones, keeping them in check. Every day, you come into contact with countless microbes. Most never cause harm. Some become quiet visitors. A few turn aggressive. Understanding how germs make us sick helps us see the body not as a fortress, but as a living field of balance. A place where invasion and defense, harm and healing, all take place in quiet harmony. Now let us move onward. In the next chapter of our story, we explore the tools humans use to fight back antibiotics, antivirals, and beyond. The medicines that changed the world and the growing challenge of resistance. Imagine a time before antibiotics, a time when even a small cut could be fatal, when childbirth, tooth infections, and pneumonia often led to death. There were no magic bullets, no medicines that could target germs directly. People relied on rest, herbs, and hope. That world changed in the early 20th century when scientists discovered the first true antibiotic. It was a turning point, a moment when human beings gained a powerful tool in the silent battle against microbial infections. Antibiotics are special molecules designed to stop harmful bacteria. They do not work on viruses or fungi, only on certain kinds of bacteria. Some antibiotics kill bacteria outright. Others stop them from growing or reproducing, giving the body time to fight back. Penicillin was one of the first. It was discovered from mold that grew accidentally on a petri dish. The mold released a substance that killed bacteria around it. That substance became penicillin, and it saved countless lives in the decades that followed. Antibiotics work in different ways. Some break the walls that surround bacteria, causing them to burst open. Others block the machinery bacteria use to build proteins or copy their DNA. These processes are essential to life. By interfering with them, antibiotics make survival impossible for the invader. But bacteria are clever. They can adapt. Over time, some bacteria learn to resist antibiotics. This is known as antibiotic resistance. Imagine a group of bacteria exposed to an antibiotic. Most will die, but a few may have tiny changes in their structure, a small mutation that allows them to survive. These survivors multiply. They pass on their strength to the next generation, and suddenly, the medicine that once worked now fails. This is not a mistake. It is evolution in action. Bacteria reproduce very quickly. Some can divide every 20 minutes. In a single day, one bacterium can become millions. With every new generation, there is a chance for change. And when survival depends on it, change happens fast. Sometimes, bacteria gain resistance by sharing genes. They can pass bits of DNA to one another, like trading survival secrets. This means even unrelated bacteria can learn to resist the same drug. This is why doctors warn against overusing antibiotics. When these medicines are given too often, or for the wrong reasons, bacteria get more chances to evolve. Taking antibiotics when they're not needed, such as for a virus like the flu, helps resistance grow. Antibiotics are also used in farming. Animals are given these drugs to prevent disease or grow faster. But this too increases the risk of resistant bacteria. These bacteria can spread to humans through food, water, or contact. Today, we face a quiet crisis. More and more bacteria are becoming resistant to the drugs we depend on. Infections that were once easy to treat are becoming difficult again. In some cases, there are no antibiotics left that work. Diseases like tuberculosis, once controlled by antibiotics, are returning in drug-resistant forms. Gonorrhea, a common infection, is becoming harder to treat. Even small procedures, like surgeries or chemotherapy, become riskier when antibiotics fail. This resistance does not spread like a new disease. It spreads in silence, slowly, invisibly, but its effects can be just as deadly. Scientists are racing to find new antibiotics, but progress is slow. Developing a new antibiotic can take more than 10 years, and bacteria can become resistant to it within just a few months. The challenge is not only scientific, it is also practical. Drug companies often focus on medicines that will be used often and for long periods. Antibiotics, in contrast, are used only for short times. This makes them less profitable. As a result, fewer new antibiotics are being developed to fight back. Scientists are also turning to nature. Many antibiotics, like penicillin, come from soil bacteria or fungi. These tiny organisms have been fighting each other for millions of years. Their chemical weapons are the source of our medicines. Researchers are digging deep into oceans, forests, and deserts to find new microbes that produce useful compounds. Others are studying how bacteria protect themselves and using those tricks to design new drugs. Some scientists are exploring phage therapy. Phages are viruses that infect only bacteria. Each type of phage targets a specific kind of bacteria. This makes them a precise and powerful tool. In places where antibiotics fail, phages may offer new hope. Still, prevention remains our best defense. Washing hands, preparing food safely, vaccinating against preventable diseases. These steps reduce the spread of infection and the need for antibiotics in the first place. Hospitals are now using special programs to guide antibiotic use. These programs help doctors choose the right medicine at the right dose for the right amount of time. This careful approach is called antibiotic stewardship. We also need global cooperation. Resistant bacteria do not respect borders. A strain that appears in one country can spread across the world in days. Tracking resistance and sharing information are essential for public health. In the end, antibiotics are a gift one that must be protected. They are not just pills. They are promises. Promises that a cut won't become a death sentence, that pneumonia can be treated, that a child with a fever has a chance to recover. But those promises are fragile, and if we are not careful, we may lose them. Let us remember that microbes are not evil. They are not our enemies. They are part of nature, like us. But in certain times and places, they challenge us. They test the limits of our knowledge, and they force us to respond with wisdom, with science, and with care. As we move forward, the story continues. In the next chapter, we explore how our bodies remember these battles, how immunity is formed, and how vaccines gently prepare us for what lies ahead. Imagine if your body could recognize an enemy before the first battle, before the first cough, before the first fever. That is the quiet power of a vaccine, a way of preparing your body for war without ever making you sick. A vaccine does not cure illness. Instead, it prevents it. It gently teaches your immune system how to spot danger in advance, like a memory written into your cells. To understand this, let's go back to the basics. Your immune system is your body's defense team. It watches for invaders like bacteria and viruses and tries to stop them before they cause harm. Sometimes it wins, sometimes it struggles. But when a germ is new or unfamiliar, your body takes longer to fight. That delay can lead to serious illness. Vaccines change the game. A vaccine introduces your immune system to a small, harmless version of a germ. Sometimes it is just a piece of the invader, like a broken shell. Sometimes it is a weakened form of the whole microbe. It cannot cause full infection, but it looks real enough for the immune system to react. When the immune system sees this pretend threat, it practices. It builds special memory cells. These cells remember what the enemy looks like. If the real germ ever shows up, later days, months, or even years later, your body recognizes it at once. The attack is faster, stronger, more precise. Often, you don't even feel a thing. The battle is over before it starts. This idea is not new. It goes back centuries. In ancient China and India, healers used powder from smallpox scabs to protect against future infections. It was risky, but it worked often enough to inspire later discoveries. The first true vaccine came in the 1700s. A doctor named Edward Jenner noticed that milkmaids who caught cowpox did not get smallpox. Cowpox was a mild illness. Smallpox was deadly. Jenner tested the idea by giving a boy cowpox on purpose. Later, he exposed the boy to smallpox. The boy did not get sick. The boy's body had learned to fight smallpox by first meeting something similar. That was the birth of modern vaccination. The word vaccine itself comes from the Latin word for cow, vacca, a quiet nod to the milkmaids and the doctor who changed history. Since then, vaccines have saved millions of lives. Polio, once feared around the world, is now nearly gone. Measles, which used to kill thousands of children each year, is now rare in many countries. Tetanus, which once struck even small wounds, is now preventable. Entire communities have been shielded because enough people were vaccinated. This is called herd immunity. It means that when many people are protected, even those who cannot take vaccines, like newborn babies or those with weak immune systems, also safer. The disease has nowhere to spread. Vaccines come in different forms. Some use live but weakened microbes. These give strong, long-lasting protection but must be used with care. Others use killed microbes or just tiny pieces like proteins from the germ. These are safer for people with weaker immune systems. Some newer vaccines use genetic blueprints called mRNA to teach the body without any real microbe at all. These new types have been used during recent outbreaks, such as COVID-19. They are fast to make and surprisingly effective. They do not change your DNA. They simply give instructions, like a recipe your body uses once and then throws away. Side effects from vaccines are usually mild: a sore arm, a small fever, a sense of tiredness. These are signs that your immune system is paying attention and getting to work. Serious reactions are rare, much rarer than the diseases the vaccines prevent. Still, fear sometimes spreads faster than truth. Misinformation about vaccines can cause people to delay or avoid them, and when enough people stop getting vaccinated, old diseases return. This has happened before. Measles outbreaks in places where it had once disappeared. Whooping cough rising in communities with low vaccine use. The danger is real. That is why public health experts watch vaccination rates closely. They look for gaps in protection. They run campaigns to educate and encourage, because in the end, vaccines only work when we trust them and use them. Vaccines are not just for children. Adults need them too. Flu shots every year. Tetanus boosters every decade. Vaccines for travel. Vaccines for older adults. Each one designed to strengthen your defense. And research continues. Scientists are working on vaccines for malaria, HIV, and even some forms of cancer. They are exploring nasal sprays, skin patches, and edible vaccines, more ways to deliver protection gently and widely. Imagine a future where new diseases are stopped before they start, where the next pandemic never happens, where your immune system carries a map of the microbial world, always ready. Vaccines are not loud heroes. They do not make headlines when they work. They do not demand attention. They are quiet, steady, and profound. A simple shot, a small droplet, a moment of protection that can last a lifetime. So the next time you roll up your sleeve or take a child to get vaccinated, pause for a moment. Know that you are part of something larger, a chain of memory, a circle of care, a silent promise to protect not just yourself, but everyone around you. And with that promise planted gently in our minds, we can now turn to the next chapter. We leave behind prevention and enter the world of medicine and healing. How drugs are made, how they find their way into the body, and how science, over time, turns molecules into meaning. In our journey through the world of microbes, we have encountered their darker side, the ones that cause illness and infection. But not all microbes are harmful. In fact, many are essential to our health and well-being. Imagine this: tiny creatures working in harmony with your body, protecting you, making you stronger, and even helping to heal. Inside our bodies, billions of microbes, including bacteria, fungi, and viruses, live without causing harm. They have jobs to do, roles they play, quietly but profoundly. They are partners in life, working with us, not against us. And in this balance, they help keep us healthy. Take the bacteria that live in your gut, for example. You may have heard the term gut microbiome before. This refers to the community of microbes that make their home in your digestive system. There are trillions of these tiny helpers. They break down the food you eat, turning it into energy and nutrients your body needs to function. Without them, you could not digest many of the foods we rely on. In fact, your gut is home to more microbial cells than human cells. The bacteria in your stomach and intestines help to break down fiber, which our bodies cannot digest on their own. As they do, they produce important substances like short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids not only nourish your gut cells, but also provide energy to the rest of your body. But the story doesn't end there. These bacteria are also involved in protecting your body from harmful invaders. When a harmful microbe tries to take over, the good bacteria in your gut often fight back, making sure that the bad ones don't have the chance to multiply. They outcompete them, keeping harmful microbes in check. The presence of these good microbes can even influence your immune system, training it to respond more efficiently to threats. Now, think about your skin. You may imagine your skin as a simple barrier protecting your insides from the outside world. But did you know that your skin is home to a vast community of microbes, too? They act as another line of defense, preventing harmful bacteria from getting in. These microbes help to create an environment that discourages harmful germs from taking root. In turn, they support the health of your skin, making it stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to heal itself when needed. It's not just the gut and skin. Microbes can help in many other ways, too. Some bacteria and fungi naturally live in the mouth, where they contribute to the process of breaking down food. These microbes also protect against harmful bacteria that could lead to infections or gum disease. Without them, harmful bacteria would have free rein to cause problems in the mouth. Even in the lungs, microbes can be beneficial. The human respiratory system is home to a unique set of microorganisms that help maintain balance. These microbes help to prevent respiratory infections by controlling the growth of harmful microbes that might otherwise take over. In a more surprising turn, some microbes have been found to have even deeper healing powers. Research into the human microbiome has revealed that certain bacteria can even play a role in fighting cancer. Some bacteria can stimulate the immune system to recognize and attack cancer cells. In fact, scientists are exploring ways to harness this ability using specific bacteria or their byproducts as part of cancer treatment strategies. It's a remarkable discovery, one that shows just how intricately connected we are to the microbial world. Our relationship with microbes extends beyond just health. It influences many aspects of life. Microbes help us process the nutrients we need from food, maintain the balance of our body's systems, and even contribute to our mental health. The gut-brain axis, for example, refers to the way that microbes in our gut communicate with our brain. They send signals that affect our mood, behavior, and stress levels. Some studies even suggest that certain bacteria in the gut could be linked to conditions like depression and anxiety. The more we understand about the connection between our gut and brain, the clearer it becomes that the microbes living within us may be playing a larger role in our mental and emotional well-being than we ever imagined. Not all microbes are harmful. In fact, many of them are crucial to our health. They support our digestive system, protect our skin, prevent infection, and may even fight cancer. The more we learn about these tiny helpers, the more we begin to appreciate the balance they maintain within our bodies. The microbes that live inside us are not invaders, but partners. Partners that work with us to keep us strong, healthy, and, well, the next time you think about microbes, remember this: not all of them are enemies. Many of them are silent allies, playing an essential role in keeping you healthy. And in a world where we are often focused on fighting disease, it is important to remember that sometimes the key to good health lies not in fighting against microbes, but in understanding and nurturing the ones that help us. Now that we've seen how microbes can be allies, it's time to consider how our relationship with them can shift, especially in times of imbalance. The delicate balance between helpful and harmful microbes is one that we must protect. It's a dynamic dance that affects everything from our immune system to our mental health. As we continue to learn from the world of microbes, we begin to understand just how deeply intertwined our lives are with these tiny beings. Throughout history, outbreaks and epidemics have shaped societies, altering the course of civilizations. From ancient times to the present day, the emergence of new diseases has tested our resilience, understanding, and response to the microbial world. These events, often catastrophic in their immediate impact, have also driven progress in medicine, public health, and our understanding of disease transmission. Let us begin with one of the most devastating events in history, the Black Death. The year was 1347, and Europe was about to be struck by one of the most lethal pandemics the world had ever seen. This was not the first time the plague had appeared, but it was the deadliest. The disease was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis, which was spread primarily by fleas that lived on rats. As trade routes connected distant parts of the world, these fleas found their way into the bustling cities of Europe. The bacteria entered the bloodstream through flea bites, triggering a series of symptoms, including fever. Imagine living in a time when there were no antibiotics, no vaccines, and little understanding of how diseases spread quickly, causing panic and chaos. Entire villages were abandoned, and survivors often lived in constant fear of the disease's next wave. Yet, amidst this tragedy, crucial lessons were learned. The Black Death brought about significant changes in how people thought about disease and hygiene. Although people at the time did not fully understand the mechanisms behind disease transmission, they began to notice that some practices seemed to help prevent the spread of illness. Quarantines were introduced, and the idea of separating the sick from the healthy became a cornerstone of public health policy. Fast forward to the early 20th century, and another pandemic changed the world in unexpected ways. The Spanish flu of 1918-1919. Unlike many previous outbreaks, the Spanish flu spread quickly across the globe, infecting nearly 1/3 of the world's population. The virus responsible was a strain of the influenza A virus, which emerged suddenly and without warning. Its rapid spread was facilitated by the global movement of troops during World War I, as soldiers unknowingly carried the virus to new regions. What made the Spanish flu particularly deadly was its ability to strike down healthy young adults, not just the elderly and those with weakened immune systems. Unlike previous influenza viruses, which primarily affected the very young or very old, in total, it is estimated that 50 million people died, more than the combined death toll of both World War I and World War II. This pandemic was a wake-up call for the world. The lessons learned during the Spanish flu led to significant improvements in the way public health systems respond to epidemics. One of the key innovations was the development of surveillance systems to track the spread of diseases. Governments and health organizations began to establish better communication channels. This helped to reduce the spread of future outbreaks, setting the stage for the modern public health systems we rely on today. In more recent history, we have witnessed another pandemic, COVID-19. The outbreak of COVID-19 in 2019 brought the world to a standstill, caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. COVID-19 spread rapidly across borders, infecting millions of people in a matter of months. What was particularly alarming about COVID-19 was how quickly it spread and the vast differences in how it affected different populations. While some individuals experienced mild symptoms, others faced severe illness or death. This virus spread mainly through respiratory droplets, making it highly contagious in crowded spaces. Countries around the world implemented lockdowns, travel restrictions, and mask mandates to slow the spread of the virus of others. During this time, scientists worked around the clock to develop vaccines, and within a year, several vaccines were authorized for emergency use. Despite the challenges, the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the importance of global cooperation. Scientists, healthcare workers, and governments collaborated in ways that had never been seen before. The rapid development and distribution of vaccines showcased the potential of modern medicine and biotechnology to respond to global health threats. However, it also brought to light significant gaps in healthcare systems and the inequities that exist in access to resources. These challenges are ongoing as the world continues to face the aftermath of the pandemic, with new variants of the virus emerging and shaping our collective response. From the Black Death to COVID-19, these epidemics have revealed much about our ability to adapt, fight, and learn from the microbial world. They have shown us the importance of scientific research, the need for global collaboration, and the value of preparedness. Each outbreak is a stark reminder of how fragile our health systems can be, but also of the resilience of humanity in the face of adversity. The fight against infectious diseases is far from over, but the lessons of the past guide us as we continue to navigate the challenges of the future. As we reflect on these historical outbreaks, we also consider the ongoing battle against emerging diseases. New viruses, bacteria, and other pathogens are constantly evolving. To evolve and adapt, we must continue to evolve our strategies for combating them. This ongoing arms race between humans and microbes is a defining feature of our relationship with the microbial world, and it will continue to shape the future of global health. Through the lens of these outbreaks, we gain insight not only into the pathogens themselves, but also into the systems that govern how we respond to them. We come to understand that outbreaks are not isolated events. They are part of a larger, ongoing story of humanity's struggle against invisible forces. The microbes that cause disease are not just enemies to be fought, but complex actors in a larger narrative of survival and adaptation. Imagine a world where life thrives in the most unexpected places, places so extreme that most organisms could not survive. Yet, in these extreme environments, microorganisms, tiny, invisible creatures, are flourishing. These are the microbes that challenge our understanding of life itself. From the blistering heat of volcanoes to the freezing cold of glaciers, from the vast depths of the oceans to the unimaginable conditions of outer space, microbes have found ways to survive where nothing else could. In the far corners of our planet, microbes have learned to adapt to the harshest conditions. One of the most fascinating examples is the life that thrives in the boiling waters of hot springs. In places like Yellowstone National Park in the United States, the waters in the springs can reach temperatures well over 70 degrees Celsius, 158 degrees Fahrenheit, far hotter than what most life forms can tolerate. Yet, here, life flourishes. Microbes called thermophiles thrive in these boiling hot waters. They have evolved to withstand the intense heat with special proteins that don't unravel at high temperatures, allowing them to function normally where other organisms would perish. Thermophiles are just one example of the many types of extremophiles organisms that can live in extreme environments. These organisms offer a glimpse into the incredible adaptability of life. For example, in the frozen landscapes of glaciers, psychrophiles microbes that thrive in extreme cold exist in the ice. These cold-loving microbes have developed mechanisms to keep their enzymes working even at sub-zero temperatures, allowing them to survive in places where even the hardiest animals would freeze. Microbes can also be found in the deep, dark corners of the oceans where sunlight never reaches. In these deep-sea environments, under immense pressure and cold temperatures, life still finds a way. Here, microbes known as barophiles thrive under pressure levels that would crush most other life forms. These organisms are specially equipped to withstand the crushing pressures of the deep ocean, where the weight of the water above them can be more than 1,000 times that at sea level. Yet, in these depths, they continue to carry out their biological functions using chemicals like sulfur and methane as energy sources in place of sunlight. The story of these incredible microbes doesn't stop at Earth. Scientists have wondered if life can exist in these extreme environments on our planet. Could it also survive in space? In recent decades, this question has been answered with surprising results. Microbes have been found to survive the harsh conditions of outer space, where radiation, temperature extremes, and the vacuum of space present insurmountable challenges for most life. In 2019, scientists sent a special type of bacterium, Bacillus subtilis, into space aboard the International Space Station. The results were astonishing. Some of these bacteria survived exposure to the vacuum and radiation of space for over a year. While we may not yet know if these microbes could thrive on another planet, their resilience in space raises exciting possibilities. Could these extremophiles hold the key to understanding how life might exist beyond Earth? In fact, the study of extremophiles has changed the way we think about the potential for life on other planets. If life can exist in the boiling waters of hot springs, in the freezing ice of glaciers, or in the crushing depths of the ocean, then why couldn't it exist on distant planets or moons? This has led to the exciting possibility that life might be found in places we once thought uninhabitable, such as beneath the surface of Mars or on the icy moons of Jupiter and Saturn. On these planets, liquid water might exist in deep underground reservoirs, providing the perfect conditions for microbial life to flourish, just as it does in the most extreme environments on Earth. The study of microbes in extreme environments also has profound implications for our understanding of life's origins. Some scientists believe that life on Earth may have begun in one of these extreme conditions. Perhaps life first emerged in the deep sea, in hydrothermal vents, where heat, minerals, and water combined in the right conditions to form the first living organisms. These vents, which spew hot, mineral-rich water from the Earth's crust, could have provided the energy and materials necessary for the building blocks of life to form. The exploration of microbial life in extreme environments is also a window into the resilience of life itself. These tiny organisms demonstrate that life is not just a product of favorable conditions, but also of adaptability. They can thrive where other forms of life would falter. This ability to adapt is at the heart of evolution, and it is through studying these microbes that we can gain a deeper understanding of how life may evolve in the future, both here on Earth and on distant worlds. In essence, microbes are the ultimate survivors. They have existed on Earth for billions of years, adapting to changing environments and thriving in places where life was once thought impossible. Their ability to live in extreme environments challenges our understanding of what life can endure and teaches us that life's potential is far greater than we once imagined. The study of these extremophiles also opens new frontiers in biotechnology. The enzymes and proteins from thermophiles, for example, are already being used in industrial applications. These heat-resistant enzymes are used in processes like food production, cleaning, and even in the development of new medicines. By understanding how these microbes function in extreme conditions, scientists can harness their capabilities for practical use here on Earth. As we continue to explore the vast reaches of our planet and beyond, we are reminded that life, in all its forms, is more resilient and adaptable than we ever imagined. The microbes that thrive in hot springs, glaciers, deep oceans, and outer space offer us a glimpse into the future where life might one day exist in places we've never dreamed possible. And in the process, they challenge us to reconsider our place in the universe, reminding us that the small and the invisible often hold the greatest potential. Microbes are often thought of as invisible troublemakers, lurking in the shadows, causing illness and disease. However, there is a kinder, more helpful side to these tiny organisms that most people don't see. These microorganisms play a vital role in our daily lives, especially in food production and farming. Without them, many of the foods we enjoy and the crops we rely on would not exist. Imagine a world without bread, cheese, or yogurt. These are just a few examples of how microbes have shaped the way we eat. Take bread, for instance. When you knead dough and let it rise, the magic is happening because of tiny organisms working behind the scenes. The yeast in bread dough, a type of fungus, ferments the sugars in the flour, producing carbon dioxide gas. This gas causes the dough to expand and rise, creating the soft texture we all love. Without yeast, bread would not have the same texture or flavor. The same process of fermentation is used in the making of beer and wine. It's a remarkable transformation where tiny microorganisms take sugars and turn them into something entirely different. Then there is cheese. Have you ever wondered how milk transforms into a rich, flavorful block of cheese? It all starts with bacteria. These bacteria are added to milk, where they begin to break down the milk sugars. This process, known as fermentation, produces lactic acid, which helps the milk to thicken and form curds. The curds are then pressed and aged, allowing the flavors to develop. In some cheeses, like blue cheese, specific strains of bacteria even create the characteristic blue veins. The bacteria are the true artisans of cheese, working silently to create complex flavors that take months or even years to perfect. Yogurt is another product of microbial activity. The bacteria used in yogurt production, such as lactobacillus and streptococcus, feed on the lactose in milk, turning it into lactic acid. This acid thickens the milk and gives yogurt its creamy texture and slightly tangy taste. These bacteria not only create the yogurt, but also help to preserve it by preventing harmful microorganisms from growing. In a sense, these bacteria are natural protectors, ensuring that yogurt stays fresh and safe to eat. Even more incredible is the role microbes play in the world of composting. In the dark, damp corners of compost heaps, a whole community of bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms work tirelessly to break down plant material. They decompose the leaves, food scraps, and other organic matter into nutrient-rich humus that can be added back into the soil. Without these invisible workers, organic waste would never break down, and the soil would quickly lose its fertility. These microbes are nature's recyclers, turning waste into valuable resources that support plant growth. But microbes aren't just helping in our kitchens or compost piles. They are also working in the soil beneath our feet, ensuring that crops can grow strong and healthy. Soil is teeming with microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and more. Some of these microbes form symbiotic relationships with plants, helping them take up nutrients from the soil. For example, certain types of bacteria, known as nitrogen-fixing bacteria, live in the roots of plants like beans and peas. These bacteria take nitrogen from the air and convert it into a form that plants can use. Without this process, plants would struggle to get the nutrients they need to grow, and farmers would need to rely heavily on synthetic fertilizers. In addition to nitrogen-fixing bacteria, fungi also play an essential role in agriculture. Mycorrhizal fungi, for example, connect to plant roots and extend tiny threads into the soil. These threads increase the surface area of the roots, helping plants absorb more water and nutrients. In return, the plants supply the fungi with sugars produced through photosynthesis. This mutual relationship benefits both the plants and the fungi, leading to healthier crops. Microbes also help protect crops from harmful pathogens. Many bacteria and fungi in the soil act as natural pest controllers, preventing diseases that might otherwise destroy entire fields of crops. In fact, some of the most effective pesticides are derived from natural microbial sources. By harnessing the power of these microbes, farmers can reduce their reliance on chemical pesticides. promoting a more sustainable and environmentally friendly approach to farming. Even in the future, microbes are expected to play a crucial role in the development of sustainable farming practices. Scientists are exploring ways to use specific microbes to improve soil health, increase crop yields, and reduce the environmental impact of farming. Some researchers are even investigating how to use microbes to help plants grow in harsh conditions, such as in arid or polluted environments. The possibilities are endless, and as we continue to learn more about these microorganisms, we uncover new ways in which they can help us create a healthier, more sustainable world. In the world of food and farming, microbes are not just helpful, they are essential. Without them, we would lose many of the foods that have become staples in our diets, and agriculture would struggle to feed the growing global population. From bread to cheese to healthy soil, these tiny organisms are the unsung heroes of our food systems, working quietly but effectively to shape the world around us. The next time you take a bite of fresh bread or enjoy a spoonful of yogurt, take a moment to appreciate the invisible workers that made it all possible. As we look ahead, the future of microbial science holds a world of possibilities. Microbes, the tiny organisms that have long been regarded as invisible workers behind many of nature's processes, are now being harnessed in ways that once seemed like science fiction. Scientists are uncovering new ways to use microbes in everything from medicine to energy production, creating a future where these organisms play an even more integral role in our lives. One of the most exciting developments in microbial science is the use of gene editing to enhance the capabilities of microbes. Gene editing is a process that allows scientists to make precise changes to an organism's DNA. This technique has been used in many fields, from agriculture to medicine. When it comes to microbes, gene editing can be used to make them more efficient at breaking down waste, producing energy, or even creating medicines by tweaking the genetic makeup of bacteria or fungi. Scientists can create supermicrobes that can perform tasks more effectively than their natural counterparts. For example, scientists are working on genetically engineered bacteria that can convert carbon dioxide into useful chemicals, potentially helping to reduce the impact of climate change. In the world of medicine, microbes are becoming key players. In the development of vaccines, lab-grown vaccines made using genetically modified microorganisms are being researched to provide faster, more cost-effective ways to prevent diseases. These vaccines work by introducing a small piece of the virus or bacteria into the body, stimulating the immune system to create antibodies that will protect against future infections. Traditionally, vaccines are made by growing the virus or bacteria in large quantities, but using microbes to create vaccines in the lab can be faster and more efficient. For instance, scientists have already used genetically engineered bacteria to produce the hepatitis B vaccine. In the future, this approach could revolutionize vaccine production, making it easier to respond to new infectious diseases as they emerge. But the potential of microbes goes beyond medicine and gene editing. In the realm of bioenergy, microbes are also being explored as a source of clean, renewable energy. Some bacteria are capable of producing electricity as part of their natural metabolic processes. These bacteria are being studied for their ability to generate bioelectricity which could be used to power everything from small devices to large-scale power plants. This process, known as microbial fuel cell technology, uses the natural movement of electrons between bacteria and electrodes to generate electricity. While this technology is still in the early stages, it holds great promise as a way to produce energy in an environmentally friendly way. Microbes are also being used in the development of sustainable materials. Scientists have discovered that certain bacteria can produce strong, lightweight materials that can be used in construction and manufacturing. For example, researchers are studying a bacterium called Bacillus that produces a substance known as bioplastic. This material is biodegradable and can be used to make everything from packaging to building materials. In the future, these bioplastics could replace traditional petroleum-based plastics, reducing the environmental impact of plastic waste. Another area where microbes are making a big impact is in the field of environmental remediation. In nature, microbes play an essential role in breaking down organic matter and recycling nutrients. This process is now being harnessed to clean up pollution. For example, certain bacteria are capable of breaking down oil spills in the ocean, while others can clean up heavy metals in contaminated soil. Scientists are even exploring the use of microbes to clean up radioactive waste. This process, known as bioremediation, uses the natural abilities of microbes to transform harmful substances into less harmful ones, offering an environmentally friendly way to address pollution. The possibilities for microbial science are vast and still largely untapped. As we continue to learn more about these tiny organisms, we uncover new ways to use them to solve some of the world's biggest challenges. From creating clean energy to developing life-saving medicines, microbes are proving to be essential allies in shaping the future. The next frontier in microbial science will likely be the combination of these technologies, where microbes work in harmony with human ingenuity to create solutions for a more sustainable and healthier world. Microbial science, once confined to the laboratory, is now poised to make a profound impact on many aspects of our lives. The tiny organisms that live all around us, in the soil, in the air, and even inside our bodies, are becoming the building blocks for a new generation of technologies. As we move forward, it is clear that microbes will continue to play a central role in shaping the future of science, technology, and medicine. By tapping into the power of these microscopic life forms, scientists are opening up new frontiers that were once unimaginable. It's a reminder that the smallest things can have the biggest impact. As we look toward the future, the potential of microbial science seems boundless, and the tiny organisms that once seemed insignificant are now revealing their true power in ways that will shape the world for generations to come. Microbes are the invisible architects of life, quietly shaping everything from the food we eat to the air we breathe. Though we cannot see them with our naked eye, these tiny organisms influence our health, the environment, and the way we interact with the world in profound ways. Without them, life as we know it would not exist. Consider the air you breathe. It is not just oxygen and nitrogen, but also millions of microbes that float around us every day. These microbes, which are so small they cannot be seen without a microscope, play an essential role in breaking down dead matter, cycling nutrients, and keeping our ecosystems in balance. In our bodies, microbes such as bacteria, fungi, and viruses number our human cells by a factor of 10 to 1. This may seem surprising, but these microorganisms work in harmony with our bodies to help us digest food, fight off disease, and maintain our health. The importance of microbes extends far beyond our bodies. They are the silent workers behind the scenes, making food possible. Without them, processes like fermentation, which gives us bread, cheese, and yogurt, would not occur. These microbes break down sugars and produce energy, creating the flavors and textures we enjoy in our favorite foods. In agriculture, microbes are just as vital. They help plants absorb nutrients from the soil, making crops grow and thrive. The relationship between plants and microbes is one of mutual benefit, a quiet partnership that sustains life on Earth. But microbes also have a darker side. Some are harmful, causing diseases like the flu, tuberculosis, and even more dangerous conditions like COVID-19. Yet, even these microbes play a part in the grand cycle of life. Through their interactions with the immune system, they push our bodies to adapt and evolve. The delicate balance between harmful and helpful microbes is part of what keeps life in constant flux, reminding us of the fragile interconnectedness of all living things. Microbes also hold the key to understanding and combating climate change. In the soil, certain microbes break down carbon compounds, helping to regulate the Earth's carbon cycle. Some microbes even absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, playing a crucial role in controlling global temperatures. Scientists are beginning to harness this natural ability, exploring ways to use microbes to absorb excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and mitigate climate change. In the grand scheme of things, microbes are among the most important life forms on Earth, and yet they remain largely invisible to us. They are essential for life, yet their contributions often go unnoticed. This paradox is what makes them so fascinating. Despite their small size, microbes shape everything from the food we eat to the air we breathe. They are life's quiet engineers, working silently in the background to maintain the delicate balance of the natural world. As we continue to learn more about these microorganisms, we uncover the immense potential they hold, from improving human health to providing solutions to environmental challenges. Microbes are offering new ways to solve some of the world's most pressing problems. The study of these tiny organisms has opened doors to new medical treatments, sustainable farming practices, and clean energy technologies. The future of science may very well lie in the understanding of these invisible creatures, and in the ways we can work alongside them to create a more sustainable and healthier world. But as we look forward, a lingering question remains. What else in the world is hidden from our view, waiting to be discovered? What other invisible forces shape the world around us, and how might our understanding of them change the way we live? Just as we have come to appreciate the power of microbes, we may one day uncover other hidden truths that reshape our understanding of life itself. In the quiet corners of the earth, there is much still to be learned. The power of tiny things, of microbes, is only one example of how even the smallest life forms can have a profound impact. They remind us that the world is full of mysteries, and that often the most important things are the ones we cannot see. As we continue to explore the invisible, we unlock the potential to change the world in ways we have yet to imagine.